Hey everybody, welcome back to another Thingamajigger Thursday. Today's episode, we're going to be going over last week's mystery tools, give you a sneak peek at next week's mystery tools. But up first, I'm going to go over a couple of just really cool vintage tools and some side notes on tools we've covered over the last 2 weeks. So let's get started. There was a comment about this bugger here, this GE electronic tubes wrench, 4-way wrench. And I think he's totally right. He mentioned that these hollow tube nut wrenches here, nut drivers, are for when you pull knobs off of, control knobs, because tubes were used in radios and amplifiers and all sorts of stuff that would have knobs on them. And you take the knob off, and then the handle or the shank for the knob or the shaft for the knob would slip down into that hollow tube, and then you could actually take the holding nut off of that, and then the whole switch would slide out from the display cabinet. So nice work on that one. Now, last week I showed what I believe are these blasting cap crimpers. I still am pretty sure that these are from the 1800s. Really, really old. Now, I ordered this one. I mentioned I found another pair on Fleabay that actually had the SOS stamped in them as well, right? They're not stamped, forged or cast into the pliers. And these also have that same A horseshoe looking thing right there. The lighting's kind of funky. I changed up the table height. This one, I'm not sure honestly what in the world that would be used for. These little holes here, just like modern day wire strippers, usually have holes somewhere where you can slide the wire in and turn it and put a loop in there. So that makes sense. And this one has what appears to be a flathead screwdriver on one of the handle ends. The other side does not look like that. So I'm assuming that these are just really, really old, very first gen blasting pliers. Most of the newer ones are multi-purpose. They'll have cutters in there for cutting your wicks. They'll have the crimpers. They'll have these little holes in them, all sorts of things. And then one side of the handle will be a flathead like this one, but the other side would be a spike for piercing into the squib or whatever pyrotechnic they're using to insert the blasting cap, and then that all gets crimped together. Google AI tends to believe that the Atlas company had a prominent capital letter A inside of a shield, which would make sense because that's kind of what our thing looks like. So I actually did the little pencil scribe method here, and you can see there's an A inside of what kind of looks like a harp or possibly a shield, or to me it still kind of looks like an upside down ohm symbol. But yeah, that's where I'm stuck at right now. And oh yeah, AI also says that Giant powder company also had a giant letter A, a capital letter A inside of a shield. So yeah, I'm kind of stuck at this point, and I don't even want to mention how many hours I have invested in researching these things. So I think I'm going to have to kind of cut my losses at this point. I'm not saying I'm giving up completely because I don't do that, but we're definitely putting those buggers on hold for now. Now, the tone of my voice is a little bit of the sound of defeat because, yeah, these two guys I couldn't find either. Searched and searched and searched, and Google and AI, I swear they're getting dumber by the day. Now this one to me, Google image just keeps bringing back scissors, medical scissors or crimp or what are those, pinching tweezers type of a thing, locking tweezers, even like this or like that, whatever. I personally think these are some sort of removal, I don't know, tongs, if you will. So they have a pretty sharp and symmetrical little bit of a, I don't know, hook right here on each side. So it would make sense that you would slide this into something, release the pressure. When you pull back out on it, those two little hooks there grab onto something. They look fairly evenly made. Just when you look at the bends that are in this thing, all the bends are really close, symmetrical. Our arc here, our circle here is really symmetrical. The angle at which these two pieces are bent is virtually identical. It's so hard to see any difference And last week I went ahead and wire wheeled them all up, and there is not one stitch of lettering on this whole thing. So my best guess is some sort of a removal tool, and I'm thinking it's homemade, mostly because of the inconsistencies at the tips. You see one tip is ground a little bit further down than the other. The inside of the groove here is just slightly different than that groove. So that's my best guess, is a homemade removal tool for something. Now on that note, I believe this bugger is also a homemade tool. I'm not 100% sure. This knurling is really nice. Like, they did a really good job if it's a homemade tool. There are some things that make me think it's more of a homemade tool than a factory-made tool. That pin right there, we just got a little roll pin in there, and you can see it was beat down. Not really a factory job. You know, that's my take. That there looks like the countersink that you would use to stuff a chunk of aluminum like this in a lathe. There's this milling out on the top here, if we call it the top, and it's not the consistent depth. So you can see it's deeper on this side than it is on the front side up here. See that? So either that was a mistake, or maybe the implement that this was going to be used for did have a pin that had to slide through there. I don't know, but that is different. Maybe they started to make this groove on this side and it just didn't work out. I don't know. But I measured the diameter here, and it's the same top to bottom. So that depth there is definitely either intentional or a mistake, but it's not due to the shank here getting wider as it goes back. So again, we're at a bit of a loss. Okay, now on to the one I was able to find pretty simply, and actually this was guessed, I think the first day it came out. This is a evaporator or condenser or radiator fin cleaner, or comb, sometimes they're called. This one is made by Robinair Manufacturing Corp. They just call it a fin comb or a fin straightener. The model number is 18403. And yeah, that's it. There's many different manufacturers of these, but they all basically do the same thing. You just use these to clean out the fins in like a radiator. So that's it. All right, moving on. We'll take a quick look at these buggers next, just because I think they're cool. This one I don't have a name on, but is an old school scraper, obviously, right? But man, do you see how thick that is? I mean, if I had to guess, this has got to be from like the early 1900s, maybe 1930s or 40s. Brass pin in there. This other pin looks like, no, it is pinned. There is another pin in there. It's just a, it's inset so that you can get a lanyard through there. But man, that's got to be pushing 1/8 of an inch thick. 3/32. That's still way thicker than most scrapers. I mean, you can't bend this at all. There is no flex. So just really neat. Now on to the next two here. This one here is really friggin' cool. An J.H. Williams ratcheting wrench. Now this is one of their very first ratchet wrenches, and it's only one direction. However, the center anvil goes back and forth. So you want to put something on, you do it that way. You want to take it off, you push it that way, turn it around, and now it ratchets the opposite direction. Very cool. This is the model S50. Right here, S50. It even tells you on and off. So you want a lefty-loosey, have the off facing up. Their next model, oh yeah, this was made back in the, well, I found this exact same model in the 1931 catalog. And after this is when they came out with the S51 and S52 super ratchets, which had the reversible lever. But a lot of these that are on Fleabay are missing the anvil. They're going for like 20 to 30 bucks if it's missing the anvil. If it's got the anvil, they're going for like 50, 60, 70 bucks. And I think this might even be an earlier version, because most of the newer ones that I saw, they, especially on like Alloy Artifacts, right in here, they actually had a Williams logo of some sort. Or I'm sorry, I think it was that side. One side or the other, and this doesn't have it at all. So really cool there. Now, this old screwdriver here, holy crap, is it cool. Old wooden handle. This is actually made by Plomb, Plomb, all right? And that is what makes this so interesting. I had always just kind of thought that plumb versus plumb, like you see sometimes Plumb on a tool, like say a hammer, and then you'll see PL with a, looks like either a V or a triangle. Come on, lighting. Right in here. I'll probably just throw another photo up here of the differences. And I just kind of always assumed that they were the same thing, and they are not. So Plomb, Plumb, they're more of a general builder's tools type of a company. They make, hammers and hatchets and axes and stuff like that. Whereas Plomb, or Plomb, they made mechanics tools. And I had no clue, but Plomb, Plomb, actually turned into Proto. So this here is a first gen Proto tool. Made in the USA. I love the steel butt cap on there, heavy duty. The model number on this one is a, yes, 9708, 3/8" shank, 8-inch length on the shaft, and 14 inches overall. 9708 model number. And as we all know, Proto is now owned by Black & Decker, Stanley Black & Decker, and they own dang near everything, it seems like. Okay, so there's our tool history for the lesson. Okay, so there's our tool history lesson for the day. All right, moving on to next week's mystery tools. For those that are new to the channel, if you got any ideas on what any of these tools are, throw something down in the comments. Also, take a quick second to hit like and subscribe if you like this kind of stuff. And one last thing, if you got any suggestions for the channel or ideas or thoughts, other than I'm a dummy for not knowing what some of these other tools are, throw that down in the comments section too. So here's tool number one, mystery tool number one for next week. I'm gonna have to fix the lighting at my new bench area here. You know what, I'm just gonna move the camera. Okay, here's tool number two. Tool number three. And finally, tool number four. All right, and just because it's fresh on my mind, I was working on a buddy's car last night, an old Mitsubishi Eclipse, swapping out a ball joint. And I had to break the whole A-arm, the lower control arm, loose, and the rear mounting bracket has this C-clamp type bracket that holds it against the subframe. And I got the two bolts out, got everything swapped out, putting it back together, and the one of those two bolts, all of a sudden, it's just spinning. And I had noticed that the bolt was pretty corroded when I took it out, but I didn't really think too much of it. And I look up in there, and it's got a blind nut welded to the backside of the inside of this subframe. You can't see it, you can't get to it. It's not like I could just slip another nut up on top of where the other one was. And it's an M12 by 1, maybe, super fine thread. And there was just no way of repairing that without this. So these kits right here, I got both of these kits. There's a metric and a SAE kit off of Amazon. So much better of a deal compared to the name brand helicoils or the time certs or anything like that. I don't remember exactly off the top of my head. I'll put the numbers in like a photo of what I bought up here so that you guys can see it. But I want to say this was like 50, 60 bucks, maybe 70 bucks compared to a helicoil kit of just one size for 30, 40, 50 bucks. This one, you get the proper size drill bit to drill the hole for the helicoil tap. Plus you get a whole baggie of taps. Let's just grab this one. This is here's the one I used last night, the M12 by 1.75, and I still have a bunch left. I've used a couple already, but each one comes with a buttload of these helicoils. Like here's the M10. You probably get 15 or 20 of them at least. Super, super good deal. And from what I remember watching on, I think it was Project Farm and or Torque Test Channel, maybe both, they did testing on, different brands and types of thread repair kits, and they basically all did the same good job. I would say probably the time cert's probably going to be the strongest, maybe, but these ones work just fine. I have never had one of these fail. Usually the base material will fail before any sort of helicoil. This kit here, the SAE kit, this was kind of frustrating. I mean, it's still a really good deal, and well, anyway, you see how there's a drill bit missing here? I actually read about this after I had bought the kit and used it, and I went back and checked the listing on Amazon, and yeah, sure enough, other people complained about the same thing. The drill bits they give you should be for the tap that taps the threads for the helicoil. Well, they give you a drill bit that's the fractional size of the bolt size that goes inside of the helicoil. So like this 5/16 helicoil set right here, it should have a Q size drill bit. I went ahead and marked it all just so I didn't have to look it up every time. But they included a 5/16 drill bit. I know you guys aren't going to be able to see that, but they did the same thing all the way across. So like here's the 3/8, and they give me a 3/8 friggin' drill bit. It's just insane. Anyway, it's still a really good deal for what you're getting with all of the extra inserts and all that. Again, I'll throw something down below so you guys can kind of see what I got here and how much they cost. But super, super handy, super good deal overall. You know, if you were to buy these two things right here worth of helicoil brand, if I had to guess, you're looking at $500+. And this kit right here, in total, both of these, is probably less than 150. So anyway, hey, that's all I got for you today. I hope y'all have a great weekend. Again, please hit some buttons down below. If you like this kind of stuff, don't be afraid to throw nasty comments down there, or good comments or suggestions. Appreciate y'all stopping by, and we will see you next week.